to Around the Armstrong Table. I got another good one for you with some Cajun Shrimp Pasta. It's one of my favorite dishes. Enjoy. Can't wait to prepare it for you. Let's get this dish started. So we're going to start with some peeled and deveined shrimp. The large, you can use large or extra large shrimp. I'm going to throw some seasoning in there with some Cajun seasoning, paprika, and some salt. Now I'm going to add some lemon zest. Basically, you want to get as much of this off of the lemon as possible. It adds a great lemon flavor without having the bite of the lemon juice. But it's such a great ingredient to add. I'm going to follow that up with some garlic. We're only adding half of the garlic, so I'm going to estimate and say that's about 2 cloves of garlic that are chopped. And we'll finish that off with just a little bit of olive oil. You can use extra virgin olive oil or canola oil or avocado oil, whichever one. And now we're going to go in and get these all mixed up. This is fun for me. I like getting my hands dirty a little bit and getting the shrimp all mixed up. We're going to put the shrimp to the side, and then we're going to get ready with our pasta. So I already got my pot boiling, ready to go to add the pasta in. I'm going to be using some fettuccine noodles, about 16 ounces. And basically you want to get that in the pot while the water is boiling. I already salted the pot and added a little bit of oil just so the pasta doesn't stick. We'll get those mixed up just a little bit, and you'll see they'll start to seep down in that pot pretty quickly. And we'll come back in just a minute to see how this all comes up. And you want to let this cook, I would say, for about a good 20 minutes. Get them to where they're just about al dente, not quite complete. You definitely don't want to have this completely cooked because what will happen is your noodles will get real chewy once you add them to your sauce later on. So I put a little bit of olive oil in here as I put them to the side. And the next part is going to be the fun part as we get working on this pasta. So I'm just going to mix that up, like I said, get the olive oil incorporated in there. Now we're going to come back with just a regular skillet, and I want to bring that up to a medium-high heat. And we're going to start this off with a little bit of butter. Butter makes everything better the same way bacon makes everything better. There's no bacon in this dish, so we're putting about two teaspoons of butter. We'll get that swirling around in the pan, and then we're going to throw the shrimp back in. The shrimp already have been seasoned, so I don't have to add anything with the shrimp, and it'll just take a minute just to let this butter melt, and we'll throw these shrimp right in the pot. So again, we got about a pound of shrimp that we're going to throw in the pot, and don't worry about overcrowding with shrimp. Each one will cook just fine, and if there are any that are a little bit under, when we're done frying these up and getting a good color on them, we'll be able to also finish them in the sauce. But for the most part, these are going to be cooked real well. That seasoning and caramelization is going to happen, and it's just the foundation of this dish is the shrimp, because all of those seasoned bits and little pieces at the bottom are going to be left in, and that's going to all be incorporated with the sauce. So we'll come back once that's done, and I'm going to throw a little bit of lemon juice. I remember the lemon I used with the lemon zest. I'm using those same lemons. Now we got away from me. It's all good. So get the other half of that lemon. I'm going to squeeze that in. And then we're just going to let this cook down just for a minute. But the shrimp are looking beautiful. They got a great color on them. And they're nice and done. The shrimp are all cooked up, ready to go. So we're going to take them out of the pan and put them aside. So you'll see me just get this off to the side here in just a second. And the beauty of this is, like I said, look at all of that delicious seasoning and juice that's sitting in the bottom of this pan. So we're gonna add a little bit more butter to this. I know all the sauce and everything, so just the other little piece of my butter. It's only 1 tablespoon. And we just want to swirl that around. And And we're also gonna add the rest of our garlic. So I normally use about 4 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna mix this all up, and you'll see the butter and the garlic start to cook down. I'm basically scraping the bottom of the pan because I want to get all those bits pulled up from the bottom, especially once with the next ingredient that's coming in. So this is my secret ingredient to my Cajun shrimp pasta. I'm gonna add in a little bit of sweet vermouth, and this is not a common ingredient in a lot of dishes, but I'll tell you, the background flavor it adds is fantastic, and it just adds this element of richness that you really don't get with a pasta dish of this magnitude, especially with an Alfredo type of pasta. It just doesn't have that richness, but this ingredient is it's just so good. So I'm just gonna let that reduce for a minute. It's gonna cook down just for a little bit before I add my heavy cream in there. And as you can see, it's bubbling up pretty good. And now we're gonna come back and we're gonna add 2 cups of heavy cream. Once we add the heavy cream, star of the show for most Alfredo dishes is gonna be the cheese. And we got 2 different types of cheeses that I'm gonna be adding to this. Just in a little bit, I'm gonna let this cook down and reduce a bit and thicken. That's what we want. We want it to thicken a little bit before we add the cheese, which is the best part. So I got my 2 cheeses that I'm gonna be adding, and I'm gonna add them in sections. And I went ahead and lowered my heat because I don't want my cheese to curdle. I wanna make sure that it incorporates real well with the sauce and gets that creamy element. So I got some freshly shredded Parmesan cheese and also some delicious Asiago cheese. The Parmesan is the lighter cheese, the Asiago is the darker cheese. These will easily incorporate with the sauce. And as you can see, I mean, it just melts like butter. I mean, it goes right in there. This is gonna thicken even more with the cheese, and it's gonna really cook up. So I'm gonna take my whisk, make sure that, again, nothing curls up and that it's smooth the way you want it. And then I'm gonna add the rest of the cheese here in just a minute. So I added this in two parts. And as you can see, look at that. I mean, you can't be mad at that. We'll mix that all in. Like I said, let it get incorporated, and it just takes a minute with your whisk to let that really get into that sauce and that flavor, and all of those components come together. Now that the sauce has thickened, we're gonna bring our pasta back to this pot. And this pasta has been sitting on the side. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of the pasta water with it. So I kept some of that as reserve, just so you get some of that starchiness from the pasta. We'll get all of that incorporated in as well, and mix this really, really well together to cook the pasta a little bit more. I'm gonna turn the heat back up because I wanna make sure that the pasta is fully cooked all the way through. Even though it was just under al dente, I wanna get it to where it's nice and you can obviously chew through it, and it's nice and tender, so you don't run into any tough parts of the pasta. We definitely wouldn't want that. That wouldn't be a good thing. So this will cook up, and I tell you, look at that sauce, man. Come on, you can't be mad at that. Now that we got the pasta nice and incorporated, we're gonna come back with our shrimp. I left the tails on the shrimp, mostly for presentation. I'm gonna mix this all in, let all this get happy together. They like being in the pool with the pasta, I can tell you that much. And gonna finish this off with just really one more ingredient. Let it cook down just a little bit. Everybody meld together and get the sauces all over the shrimp. And we're gonna get this dish to the end. I'll finish it off with a little bit of parsley. Mix that in. And I mean, come on. Who wouldn't be mad at this? Look how delicious that looks. I hope you guys are enjoying this one. I'm gonna mix this all up. get me a plate here in just a second. We're gonna plate this dish up. So I got it all plated up. Put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top to finish off the dish. And again, from my table to your table, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.